After suppressing the first rioting remnant flag, a brief gap opened on the battlefield. The members of Dragon Court Guild finally withdrew from the dense remnant flag zone. Their original 8-person team now had only 5 people still standing. 2 were dead. 1 was severely wounded and unconscious, and Shi Shang was dragging him toward the outer edge. The Dragon Court captain walked up to Lin Yao with a complicated look on his face. "My name is Chu He." Lin Yao glanced at him. "Dragon Court Guild, Chu He." The Dragon Court Guild ranked 4th on Huaxia's Lord Village building board might have some connection to him. But this Chu He clearly was not the Lord himself. He was a member of Dragon Court's exploration team, or perhaps one of the guild's core players. "Lin Yao." Chu He froze slightly. "You're not staying anonymous? A name is not the same as coordinates." Chu He was silent for a moment. "You warned us during the day." We didn't listen." "I noticed." That sentence made Chewy's face look a little ugly, but he did not argue back. Because the facts were right in front of him. They had indeed caused trouble. Zhao Tai gave a cold laugh from the side. "You didn't just ignore him. You chopped down 3 large flags." One of the players behind Chu He could not help saying, "How are we supposed to know this would happen?" The system prompt said they were Warsoul flags, and it even marked them as collectible. Gao Mu looked at him coldly. "A knife on a dead man's body can also be picked up. Before you pick it up, you had better ask whether the dead man agrees." The player was choked speechless. Lin Yao did not waste time assigning blame. This was not the moment for accountability. There were still 2 rioting remnant flag corps that had not been suppressed. If they delayed until midnight, the dead souls' activity would rise even higher. "Can you still fight?" Lin Yao asked. Chu He nodded. "Yes." "Then follow my command." The expressions of the players behind Chu He changed. "Captain?" Chu He raised a hand and stopped them. He looked at Lin Yao. "Fine." That answer raised Lin Yao's evaluation of him slightly. A person who could recognize the situation after causing trouble was already stronger than many others. Lin Yao quickly redistributed their combat power. The Obsidian Village squad would be responsible for suppressing the 2nd Remnant Flag Corps. The Dragon Court squad would be responsible for pinning down the outer soldier souls. Chen Hao and Shi Shang would rescue the unconscious player and prevent him from being eroded by war souls. Cao Mu would judge the military order nodes. Chu He would cooperate with a flank assault. After listening, Chu He asked, "Why don't we attack the core together?" Lin Yao said, "You already have remnant flag marks on you. If you get close to the core, you may trigger it again." Chu He's face changed slightly. He looked at the back of his own hand. There really was a faint dark red trace there. Earlier, he had thought it was only battle contamination. Now it looked more like a mark left behind by the remnant flag's military order. "How do we remove it?" "After the suppression event." Chu He nodded. "Understood." The 2nd rioting remnant flag was located on the western side of Broken Flag Slope. There were more soldier souls here than at the first location. The reason was soon found. The Dragon Court players had not only chopped down flags. They had also dug out a damaged military tally. The tally had been thrown on the ground, and soldier souls kept circling around it. Civilization analysis appeared. Damaged military tally. Identity marker, auxiliary soldier squad tally, outer unit of the trap formation army. Status, forcibly dug out, triggering obsession to return to camp. Effect, summons nearby auxiliary soldier souls. When Gao Mu saw the tally, his face became even colder. "You even dug out a military tally." The player from Chuhi's team muttered, "It was a blue quality material." Zhao Tai immediately glared at him. "Blue, my foot." Lin Yao raised a hand and stopped them. He looked at the military tally. This was different from the remnant flags. The remnant flags were military order corps. The military tally was an identity core. If it was not handled properly, these soldier souls would keep searching for their unit. "Cao Mu, how do we suppress it?" Cao Mu was silent for a moment. "The military tally cannot be destroyed. It has to be returned." "Returned where?" Cao Mu looked toward a collapsed blackstone pit nearby. "That should be the burial pit of the auxiliary soldiers." Lin Yao immediately checked it with civilization analysis. Auxiliary soldier burial pit. Status, half sealed. Damaged military tally can be placed here to reduce the obsession to return to camp. Shi Shang, find a route. Shi Shang immediately lowered himself and began scouting. Before long, he found a narrow path around the densest area of soldier souls. But that path was very tight, and several wandering soldier souls crossed it. Someone had to escort the military tally over. Chui said, "I'll go." Cao Mu said coldly, "You have a mark on you. If you carry the tally, you will only make them more restless." Chu He stiffened. Lin Yao looked at Chen Hao. Chen Hao pointed at himself. "Me? You are a border army foot soldier. Military orders affect you less than ordinary players." Chen Hao took a deep breath. "All right." Lin Yao handed him a bowl of talisman water. "If you hear someone calling you back to camp, do not answer. If you see illusions, do not stop." Chen Hao took the talisman water, his expression solemn. "That warning really makes me feel safe. Also, go quickly and come back quickly." Chen Hao rolled his eyes and picked up the tally. The instant he touched it, the surrounding soldier souls turned their heads. A low voice echoed. "Return to camp. Roll call. Squad tally, return to position." Chen Hao's face turned pale. But he gritted his teeth and did not respond, then followed Shi Shang quickly toward the burial pit. The Dragon Court squad immediately acted according to Lin Yao's arrangement, creating noise at the outer edge to draw part of the soldiers' souls away. Zhao Tai and the other two formed up behind Chen Hao to block pursuit. Lin Yao used war soul protection to suppress the soldier souls that approached. The whole process was more tense than suppressing the first remnant flag. Because this time, they were not destroying or suppressing something. They were transporting it. The closer Chen Hao got to the burial pit, the more violently the military tally trembled. Illusions began to appear before his eyes. A group of auxiliary soldiers covered in blood stood in the darkness and stared at him. "Which squad are you from? Why have you not returned? Roll call. Report your name." Chen Hao almost opened his mouth. But Shi Shang suddenly grabbed him. "Brother Chen, don't answer." Chen Hao jolted awake, cold sweat instantly running down his face. That was close. Shi Shang pointed toward the burial pit. "We're here." Chen Hao gritted his teeth and inserted the tally into the black soil at the edge of the pit. The next second, all the surrounding soldier souls stopped at once. The auxiliary soldier souls that had been wandering in confusion slowly turned toward the burial pit. It was as if they had finally found the direction back to their unit. One soldier soul after another walked into the pit, their forms gradually fading. A system prompt appeared. "You have successfully placed the damaged military tally. The auxiliary soldiers' obsession to return to camp has been calmed. Second rioting core suppressed. Regional event progress, 70%. Chen Hao dropped onto the ground. "This is more tiring than fighting monsters. Shang also let out a breath. But just as the two of them were about to return, a faint point of light suddenly appeared deep inside the burial pit. Chen Hao froze. What's that? Shang immediately remembered Gao Mu's warning. Do not casually pick up old military objects. He grabbed Chen Hao. Ask the Lord first. Chen Hao immediately pulled his hand back. That movement saved him. Because beside that faint light, a half-transparent hand appeared indistinctly. If he had reached out directly just now, that hand might have grabbed him. After Lin Yao arrived, he checked it with civilization analysis. Auxiliary soldier relic, half-military ration token. Status, collectible. Risk, must be purified with talisman water before extraction. Use, can open a clue related to ancient battlefield military rations? A military ration clue. Lin Yao's eyes brightened. What Obsidian Village lacked most right now was food. He had not expected the auxiliary soldier's burial pit on Broken Flag Slope to hide a clue related to military rations. This was the value of a hidden map. Danger and resources were always tied together. Guan was not here, but Lin Yao had brought talisman water. He sprinkled the talisman water onto the half-ration token. The half-transparent hand slowly disappeared. Lin Yao took out the ration token. You have obtained half-military ration token. Clue: a military ration cellar once existed on the outskirts of the lost military stronghold. If the other half of the military ration token is gathered, the entrance to the ration cellar can be located. A military ration cellar. Lin Yao felt his spirit lift. This might be the key to solving Obsidian Village's food crisis. Chui also saw the half token, and his eyes shifted slightly. But he did not ask for it. Because if not for Lin Yao this time, it would already have died on Broken Flag Slope. After the second core was combed, only the final core remained. But the final core was also the most dangerous. It was located at the highest point of Broken Flag Slope. There stood a main flagpole that had been cut in half. Around the main flagpole stood a figure obviously taller than ordinary soldier souls. When Gao Mu saw that figure, his expression became extremely grave. Lin Yao asked, "What is that?" Gao Mu said in a low voice, "A flag officer. He holds the flag, passes orders, and arranges the formation. If he fully awakens, every soldier soul on Broken Flag Slope will listen to him." At the same time, a system prompt appeared. Third Rioting Corps, Broken Flag Officer. Status, half awakened. If awakening is completed, the Dead Soul Riot on Broken Flag Slope will enter its second stage. Countdown, 31 minutes and 48 seconds. Lin Yao looked at the countdown, and his eyes sank. Half an hour. They had to suppress the flag officer within half an hour. Otherwise, the situation would become even worse. At the highest point of Broken Flag Slope, the winds sounded like knives. The flag officer stood beside the half-broken main flagpole, his form more solid than ordinary soldier souls. He wore shattered armor. In his left hand, he held a roll of broken military orders. His right hand rested on the snapped flagpole. His face could not be seen clearly. Only two dark red points of light burned beneath his helmet, like coals that were about to go out and then flared again. He did not attack first. But all the soldiers' souls across Broken Flag Slope were gathering toward him. That was the most terrifying part. Ordinary soldiers' souls were scattered troops. A flag officer was an existence capable of reorganizing scattered troops. If he completely woke up, this Broken Flag Slope would no longer be a Dead Soul riot. It would become a Dead Soul formation. By then, Obsidian Village would have no ability to resist. Lin Yao looked at the countdown. 28 minutes and 16 seconds. There was not much time. Shui saw the mission prompt too, and his face looked ugly. How do we fight? This time, he no longer tried to take command. Because he already understood that when facing this kind of Warsoul event, Lin Yao and Gaomu understood far more than they did. Gaomu stared at the flag officer and said in a low voice, "We cannot let him unfurl the flag." Lin Yao asked, "What happens if he unfurls it?" "He will re-establish the order. All remnant flag soldier souls will return under his command. At that point, this will no longer be a riot. It will be a military formation." Zhao Tai asked, "Then why not rush in and cut him down while he hasn't fully awakened?" Gao Mu shook his head. "There is a military order domain around the flag officer. If you charge directly, his remnant order will suppress you." Lin Yao checked with civilization analysis. Broken flag officer. Type, mid-tier Warsoul remnant image. Status, half awakened. Traits, remnant order suppression, soldier soul summoning, flag momentum protection. Weaknesses, break in the main flagpole, broken military order, contradiction within the military order. Suppression methods. 1. Destroy the break in the main flagpole and forcibly interrupt awakening. Risk, soldier soul counterattack. 2. Seize the broken military order and complete order filing. Risk, the order holder will suffer memory erosion. 3. Override with a higher level war banner or military order. Current conditions insufficient. There were 3 methods. The third could not be done right now. The first was the fastest, but it would trigger a counterattack. The second was steadier, but someone had to endure memory erosion. Lin Yao looked at Gao Mu. "Can the broken military order be filed?" Gao Mu was silent for a moment. "If we can get it into our hands, perhaps." "The cost?" "The order holder will see the flag officer's military order memories from before his death. If the mind is unstable, the flag officer will treat him as a new messenger." Chen Hao immediately said, "It's this kind of mental contamination again." Zhao Tai gripped his blade. "I'll go cut the flagpole." Gao Mu said coldly, "Before you even get close, you will kneel and listen to orders." Zhao Tai's face darkened. "Am I that bad?" "To a flag officer, right now you are a new recruit." Zhao Tai could not refute him. Lin Yao thought for a moment. Forcibly cutting the flagpole was too risky. If the soldier souls counterattacked, both the Dragon Court players and the Obsidian Village squad might be swept to death. Seizing the military order was dangerous, but with War Soul protection and Gao Mu present, the success rate was higher. The question was who should take it. Gao Mu understood military orders best, but his wounds had not healed, and if he was eroded, the consequences would be the worst. Zhao Tai had a hard will, but he did not understand military orders well enough. Chen Hao was a player. If he died, there might be real-world backlash, so he was not suited to taking that risk. Shi Sheng was too weak. In the end, only Lin Yao himself remained. He had civilization analysis. He had War Soul protection. He also had the identity of a lord. He might be the most suitable candidate. Gao Mu seemed to see what he was thinking and immediately said, "My lord, you must not take this risk." Lin Yao asked back, "Is there anyone more suitable?" Gao Mu fell silent. He wanted to say himself. But he knew that if he touched the flag officer's military order, his old memories might go out of control. The remnants of the Trap Formation Army and the War Souls of Broken Flag Slope came from the same source. He was more likely than Lin Yao to be dragged in. Lin Yao looked at everyone. "I'll take the military order." Zhao Tai immediately grew anxious. "My lord." Lin Yao raised a hand. "You are responsible for opening a path for me. Gao Mu, tell me how to file the order." Gao Mu looked deeply at him. After a few seconds, he said in a low voice, a military order is not filed by understanding it. It is filed by confirming it. After you obtain the broken order, you will see its final command. If that command has already expired, you must tell it the order is stopped. If that command is not yet complete, you must find its destination for it. Lin Yao frowned. How do I judge that? Cao Mu said, look at what it is guarding. If it is guarding the dead, let it scatter. If it is guarding the flag, let it return to the flag. If it is guarding a road, ask where the road leads. Lin Yao seemed to understand. It sounded mysterious, but he understood the core. He could not simply crush every obsession by force. He had to find the logic of the military order and make it close. This was also the special nature of the Blackstone Wasteland Warsoul line. It was not simply killing monsters. It was understanding why the remnant souls refused to disperse. The operation began. Zhao Tai and the two new trap formation recruits opened the path in front. Chu He led the Dragon Court players to pin down the soldiers' souls on the flank. Chen Hao stayed at Lin Yao's left side. Shi Shang remained at the outer edge, watching the flow of soldier souls at all times. The closer they got to the flag officer, the stronger the pressure became. Orderly roll calls began to sound beside their ears. Squad Jia, missing 3. Squad E, missing 2. Flag bearer, dead. Messenger, not returned. Military order, undelivered. Lin Yao's mind shook. Military order, undelivered. This was one of the flag officer's obsessions. He was not simply guarding a flag. He was trying to deliver an order that had never been delivered. The flag officer slowly raised his head. He seemed to notice Lin Yao approaching. The broken military order in his hand lit with dark red light. The surrounding soldiers' souls instantly grew restless. Cao Mu shouted in a low voice, "Hold the formation." Zhao Tai gritted his teeth and withstood the first wave of military pressure suppression. His knees bent slightly, but he did not kneel. Young Man A and Young Man B were also pale, yet they held the formation with everything they had. The first true test of the new trap formation recruits had come. It was not cutting down enemies. It was resisting in order. The flag officer's remnant order was pressing down on them. It demanded that they return to the ranks, kneel before the flag, and obey command. But now they were soldiers of Obsidian Village. The order they had to obey belonged to Obsidian Village. Zhao Tai roared, "I have a lord." That roar was crude. It did not even fit a military formation. But it was effective. The military momentum around the 3 trap formation recruits suddenly stabilized. Lin Yao seized the chance and rushed within 10 steps of the flag officer. The flag officer raised the broken military order. An invisible force pressed down. The scene before Lin Yao's eyes changed instantly. He was standing on broken flag slope. Around him was not the current night, but a burning dusk. The flag officer was covered in blood and kneeling on one knee. The messengers in front of him were all dead. The main flag had been cut down. Black smoke rose from the military stronghold behind them. Someone stuffed a blood-stained military order into the flag officer's hand. Carry the order. Retreat and defend. No, hold to the death. No, wrong. The scene became chaotic. It was as if the order itself had been changed at the final moment. Someone wanted him to retreat and defend the stronghold. Someone wanted him to hold broken flags sloped to the death. Someone wanted him to escort the civilians away. Someone wanted him to burn and seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. Too many commands overlapped. In the end, before the flag officer died, only one obsession remained. The military order had not been delivered. He did not know which order he should pass on. So he stayed here forever. He would not let the soldiers retreat. He would not let the flag fall. He would not let anyone leave. Lin Yao suddenly understood. This was not simple loyalty. It was a deadlock caused by conflicting orders. He reached out and grabbed the broken military order. In the outside world, the flag officer's hand also suddenly grabbed toward him. Chen Hao wanted to step forward, but Gao Mu barked, "Don't touch him." Lin Yao's consciousness sank into the memory of the military order. Countless voices rang in his ears at the same time. Retreat and defend the stronghold. Hold broken flag slope to the death. Escort the civilians. Seal the weapon tomb. Carry the order. Carry the order. Carry the order. Lin Yao felt as if his head were about to split open. If he were an ordinary person, he might have been driven mad at this moment. But civilization analysis unfolded in his field of view and broke down the chaotic commands one by one. Military Order 1, retreat and defend the stronghold. Issuer, unknown general. Status, expired, the stronghold has fallen. Military Order 2, hold broken flag slope to the death. Issuer, the flag officer's own judgment. Status, expired, the main force has perished. Military Order 3, escort the civilians away. Issuer, logistics military clerk. Status, unknown. Military Order 4, seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. Issuer, highest military order. Status, incomplete. Lin Yao's pupils contracted. Seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. This was the final military order. The other commands had all expired. But the entrance to the weapon tomb still existed. That was why the flag officer had not dispersed. It was not that he did not know how to retreat. It was that the final, key order had never been completed. Lin Yao looked at the flag officer's blurred face and said in a low voice, "Retreat and defend the stronghold." Order expired. Hold broken flag slope to the death. Order expired. The civilians have dispersed. Order expired. The flag officer shook violently. But when Lin Yao spoke the last sentence, all the surrounding voices went quiet. Seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. Order incomplete. The flag officer raised his head. His dark red gaze fixed on Lin Yao. Lin Yao said each word clearly. This order will temporarily be accepted by Obsidian Village. Outside, all the soldiers' souls stopped at the same time. Gao Mu suddenly raised his head. He heard it. He heard Lin Yao accept that ancient military order. This was not an ordinary promise. It meant Obsidian Village had truly connected with the weapon tomb mainline. The broken military order in the flag officer's hand slowly loosened. He lowered his head, as if he had finally completed the delivery of the order. The broken order fell into Lin Yao's hand. The flag officer's form began to collapse. But before he vanished, he knelt on one knee and gave Lin Yao an incomplete military salute. A system prompt sounded. You have successfully filed the broken flag officer's military order. Third rioting core suppressed. The Dead Soul riot on Broken Flag Slope has been calmed. Regional event completed. You have obtained broken military order. You have accepted hidden regional mission, seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. Warning, this mission will deeply affect the Blackstone Wasteland mainline. When Lin Yao came back to himself, his palm was covered in cold sweat. He lowered his head and looked at the broken military order in his hand. It was not a complete scroll. It was only a scorched fragment of an order. But it weighed more heavily than any piece of equipment. Gao Mu looked at that fragment and asked in a low voice, "My lord, what order did you accept?" Lin Yao looked into the depths of the Blackstone wasteland. Seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. Gao Mu's expression changed. Shui heard it as well, and shock moved through his eyes. The weapon tomb. The place every faction wanted to find. Lin Yao had actually received a mission connected to the weapon tomb in the middle of this riot. Zhao Tai could not help asking, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Lin Yao was silent for a moment. Both. Because from this moment on, Obsidian Village was no longer merely a territory trying to use the resources of the Blackstone Wasteland. It had also been officially dragged by the ancient military order of the wasteland into the deepest part of the vortex. After the Broken Flag officer dispersed, the entire Broken Flag slope seemed to have had some violent force drawn out of it. The wind was still cold. The remnant flags still stood on the slope. But the mad voices calling "return to the ranks, take the flag, and slay the deserters" had clearly weakened. The ordinary soldiers' souls did not all disappear. They simply returned to low activity, like remnant shadows that had lost their military order, wandering quietly among the flagpoles. A regional event settlement appeared before Lin Yao. Regional event, Dead Soul Riot on Broken Flag Slope, completed. Completion rating, excellent. Primary contributor, Obsidian Village. Assistance, Dragon Court Guild Squad. Rewards being issued. You have obtained Warsoul Remnant Breath, medium amount. You have obtained special item, Broken Military Order. You have obtained regional reputation, Blackstone Wasteland plus 100. You have obtained Broken Flag Slope Control Progress, 25%. Trap Formation Camp Prototype has received Warsoul Nourishment. Training efficiency slightly increased. 25%. The number was not high, but its meaning was enormous. It meant Broken Flag Slope was no longer a completely ownerless danger zone. Obsidian Village had begun to influence it. If they continued clearing, suppressing, and establishing gathering points, perhaps Broken Flag Slope could become Obsidian Village's first external resource zone in the future. Shui also received the mission settlement. He looked at his own rewards with a somewhat complicated expression. The Dragon Court Squad had also received contribution rewards, but they were clearly inferior to Obsidian Village's. That was reasonable. They had caused the trouble, and suppressing the course had relied on Lin Yao. But what Shui cared about more was not the reward. It was the hidden mission Lin Yao had just accepted. Seal the entrance to the weapon tomb. That sentence revealed far too much information. The weapon tomb truly existed. And it was not an ordinary treasure ground. It might contain something so dangerous that an ancient army had needed its highest military order to seal it. Shui walked to Lin Yao's side. Lord Lin. This time, his form of address changed. From Lin Yao to Lord Lin. Lin Yao looked at him. What is it? Shui was silent for a moment, then said, for today's matter, we owe you once. Zhao Tai muttered from the side, more than once. Shui heard it, but he did not argue. If you want compensation, you can name it. Lin Yao looked at him. What can Dragon Court Guild provide? Shui answered, resources, player combat power, intelligence trades. Lin Yao asked, do you have iron tools? Shui was stunned. He had not expected Lin Yao's first question to be about something so basic. Some. Iron pickaxes, iron shovels, iron nails, ordinary iron materials. Shui thought for a moment. We can get them, but not in large quantities. Lin Yao nodded. I want a batch of basic iron tools. Shui asked, in exchange for what? Lin Yao pointed toward Broken Flag Slope. You caused this Dead Soul riot, and Obsidian Village handled it for you. That batch of iron tools will count as compensation. One of the Dragon Court players behind Shui looked dissatisfied. Isn't that a little? Shui raised a hand and stopped him. Fine. The player grew anxious. Captain. Shui said heavily, shut up. He understood very clearly that if not for Lin Yao, their whole team might have been wiped out. Also, Dragon Court Guild had just entered the Blackstone Wasteland and had already triggered a regional riot through recklessness. If this spread, it would hurt the guild's reputation. A batch of iron tools in exchange for Lin Yao not publicly pursuing the matter, and for preserving the possibility of future trade, was worth it. Lin Yao continued, also, the outer area of Broken Flag Slope will temporarily be suppressed by Obsidian Village. If you want to enter, you may. But you may not pull up flags, cut flags, dig out military tallies, or touch old military objects without authorization. Otherwise, next time, I will not save you. Shuhi took a deep breath. I will restrain Dragon Court's people. Lin Yao looked at him. Not restrain. Notify. This area is no longer completely ownerless. Shuhi's eyes changed slightly. Broken Flag Slope control progress, 25%. Lin Yao clearly was not making an empty threat. The system had already acknowledged that Obsidian Village had partial control over Broken Flag Slope. If Dragon Court continued to act recklessly, they might directly become regional enemies. Shuhi nodded. I understand. He initiated a trade contract. Dragon Court Guild Squad submits a trade commitment to you. Content: within 24 hours, provide one batch of basic iron tools as compensation for the Broken Flag Slope incident. Additional clause: Dragon Court Guild Squad may not enter the core area of Broken Flag Slope without notifying Obsidian Village. Accept? Lin Yao confirmed. After the contract was established, the relationship between the two sides temporarily stabilized. Shui prepared to withdraw with the remaining players. Before leaving, he turned back and asked, Lord Lin, are you really the first-ranked lord on the board? Chen Hao and Zhao Tai both looked at Lin Yao at the same time. Lin Yao's expression was calm. Being first on the board doesn't necessarily mean living the longest. Shuhi froze for a moment. Then he gave a bitter smile. True. He did not ask any further questions and led his team away. After the Dragon Court squad had gone far, Chen Hao could not help saying, that answer was really showy. Zhao Tai nodded. But useful. Lin Yao ignored them. He looked toward Broken Flag Slope. Although the event had been calmed, the follow-up work had only just begun. Gao Mu walked to his side. My lord, Broken Flag Slope cannot simply be left alone. Lin Yao nodded. We need to set up a warning post. At least erect a stone marker. Tell outsiders not to touch the flags. Gao Mu said, and regular patrols. Lin Yao opened the regional panel. Broken Flag Slope. Control, 25%. Status, low activity, partially controllable. Available operations. 1. Establish a warning stele. 2. Establish a temporary gathering point. 3. Conduct remnant flag placement. 4. Station a guard unit. 5. Explore the clue to the other half of the military ration token. All of these were important. But Obsidian Village had too few people right now. They could not do everything. Lin Yao chose to establish a warning stele first. Requirements to establish warning stele: stone materials, fragments of obsidian iron, small amount of Warsoul remnant breath. Effect: reduces the probability that outside players accidentally trigger dangers, and increases Obsidian Village's perception of Broken Flag Slope's outer area. The materials were acceptable. Lin Yao decided to have Lu Cheng bring people tomorrow to handle it. Next was the temporary gathering point. Requirements to establish temporary gathering point: at least 2 laborers, 1 combat unit as guard, gathering tools. they currently lacked tools. Once Dragon Court's iron tool compensation arrived, they could begin. Finally, there was the clue to the other half of the military ration token. Lin Yao took out the half-ration token. After Broken Flag Slope had calmed, it was faintly warm and pointed northwest. That direction was close to the Burial Bone Gully. Gao Mu had warned them not to go too deep into the Burial Bone Gully. Now was not the time. Lin Yao put away the military ration token. Returned to the village. That night, the Obsidian Village squad returned to their territory with Warsoul Remnant Breath, the broken military order, control over Broken Flag Slope, and new pressure. When they returned to Obsidian Village, the sky was already faintly bright. The villagers were waiting near the stone tablet. When they saw Lin Yao and the others return safely, everyone visibly let out a breath. Although Zhao Tai and the two trap formation recruits were exhausted, their backs were straighter than before they had set out. This battle had truly completed their transformation from strong young men into soldiers. Gao Mu called the three of them to the front of the trap formation camp. Kneel before the camp. The three did not hesitate and dropped to one knee. Gao Mu stood before them, his voice low. Tonight, you did not retreat. From now on, you truly count as Obsidian Village's first batch of trap formation recruits. Zhao Tai raised his head, light in his eyes. He was usually stubborn and sharp-tongued, but at this moment, he did not joke. Lin Yao saw the system prompt. Zhao Tai has completed his first deployment trial. Trap formation recruit proficiency increased. Young Man A has completed his first deployment trial. Young Man B has completed his first deployment trial. Trap formation camp prototype trait activated, first military morale. First military morale, when territory combat units defend Obsidian Village and its controlled areas, morale is slightly increased. This was an extremely practical trait. Obsidian Village's military system had begun to take shape. Just as Lin Yao was preparing to rest, a world announcement suddenly sounded. Huaxia region announcement, Blackstone Wasteland regional mainline progress has increased. The outer control of Broken Flag Slope has been obtained by a player force for the first time. Blackstone Wasteland Regional Reputation Board opened. Current first place, Obsidian Village. This time, there was no anonymity. Or rather, the announcement displayed the force's name, not the player's name. The world channel instantly exploded. Obsidian Village? What force is that? Isn't the Blackstone Wasteland a trash map? What the hell is Broken Flag Slope control? Wasn't Dragon Court just in the Blackstone Wasteland? Why is Obsidian Village first, not Dragon Court? Could Obsidian Village be that anonymous number one on the Lord board? Lin Yao looked at the announcement, and his face darkened slightly. Trouble had arrived. For the first time, the name Obsidian Village appeared before every player in the Huaxia region. Its location had not been exposed. But everyone now knew one thing. Inside the Blackstone Wasteland, there was a player force called Obsidian Village, and it had already begun to grasp the regional mainline. The moment the words Obsidian Village appeared in the Huaxia region announcement, Lin Yao knew that true quiet was over. Previously, players only knew the Blackstone Wasteland might contain hidden resources. Later, forces like the Su family and Dragon Court had begun to enter. But all of that had still been small-scale probing. Now it was different. The outer control of Broken Flag Slope has been obtained by a player force for the first time. Current first place, Obsidian Village. These two announcements had directly pushed the value of the Blackstone Wasteland in front of every player in the Huaxia region. Even more troublesome was that the system announcement had not displayed Lin Yao's name, but had displayed the force name. This meant other players might not know that Lin Yao was the first-ranked lord. But they would know that there was a force called Obsidian Village inside the Blackstone Wasteland. This force had already gained an advantage in the regional mainline. And in a global synchronized public test game like Era of the Divine Realms, any first represented value. The first village built. The first controlled area. The first main line triggered. These things might bring equipment, resources, reputation, storylines, troop types, and even authority after future reality synchronization. Lin Yao stood before the Lord Stone Tablet and did not speak immediately. The villagers could not see the world channel, but they could feel that the stone tablet had trembled just now. Gao Mu looked at Lin Yao. Has something happened? Lin Yao nodded. Obsidian Village has been announced. Zhao Tai froze. What does announced mean? Chen Hao explained for him. It means every player in the Huaxia region knows Obsidian Village exists. Zhao Tai frowned. So all the outsiders know we have good things here? Chen Hao nodded. More or less. Zhao Tai immediately cursed. This broken system really doesn't know how to behave. Lin Yao did not refute him. The system announcement itself was a kind of push. It would not let any force quietly get rich for too long. If you took regional mainline progress, you would gain reputation. But at the same time, more people would set their eyes on you. This was benefit and risk bound together. Very fair. Also very cruel. Lin Yao opened the world channel. Messages were refreshing at extreme speed. Which guild does Obsidian Village belong to? Anyone know? Isn't the Blackstone Wasteland a beginner trash map? I just checked the forums. Someone said Broken Flag Slope is full of dead souls, and several teams died there. Isn't Dragon Court over there? Why isn't Dragon Court first in control? I suspect Obsidian Village is the anonymous #1 lord. Not necessarily. It might be an NPC force. The system said player force. It definitely has a player lord. Looking for a team to go to the Blackstone Wasteland coordinates. I want to check it out. Warning you away. Someone just said pulling flags makes you possessed by dead souls. The more dangerous it is, the more treasure there is. Lin Yao closed the channel. The most dangerous thing in those discussions was not the speculation. It was the final sentence. The more dangerous it is, the more treasure there is. That kind of mindset would attract large numbers of players into the Blackstone Wasteland. Even if 90% of them died, the remaining 10% would be enough to disrupt the situation. After listening to Chen Hao's brief explanation, Gao Mu said in a low voice, "We need to speed up defense." Lin Yao nodded. Not only defense. He looked at Zhou Bo. From now on, Obsidian Village will establish rules for outsiders at the entrance. Zhou Bo immediately stepped forward. Please give your orders, my lord. Lin Yao began issuing commands one by one. First, no outside player was allowed to directly enter the stone tablet core area. Second, outsiders could only remain in the trading area outside the village. Without permission, they could not approach the well, the trap formation camp, the medicine shed, or the barracks foundation. Third, Obsidian Village's coordinates could not be voluntarily revealed by villagers. Fourth, if any outsider asked about the Lord Stone Tablet, the Broken War Banner, the trap formation camp, or Guan's identity, it had to be recorded. Fifth, establish an outer village watchpost, with Shi Shang responsible for patrols. Sixth, all trades would be registered by Zhou Bo. When Lin Yao was absent, Zhou Bo, Lu Chang, and Gao Mu would decide together. Zhou Bo wrote everything down one by one. Hearing this, Guan added, the matter of the Taiping Dao remnant scroll must also remain secret. Lin Yao nodded. Listed as highest secrecy. Gao Mu also said, the trap formation camp cannot be shown to outsiders. Without my permission, any outsider who approaches within 10 steps of the camp gate will be treated as hostile. Zhao Tai grinned. I can guard that. Lin Yao glanced at him. You can guard it, but you cannot strike first. Zhao Tai's face fell. Why? Because next, many people will deliberately provoke you. Lin Yao's voice was calm. They will want to test Obsidian Village's bottom line. Once you strike first, they will have an excuse. Zhao Tai frowned. So we endure even if they curse us? Gao Mu said coldly, soldiers are not street thugs. Zhao Tai shut his mouth. That sentence was more effective coming from Gao Mu than from Lin Yao. Lin Yao continued arranging matters. Open a temporary trading area outside the village. We can sell water, but in limited quantities. We can sell low-tier talisman water, but at a higher price. Obsidian iron ore will not be sold for now. Basic information about Broken Flag Slope can be sold. Chen Hao's eyes brightened. You want to guide the players into the trading area? Yes. Completely forbidding players from approaching was unrealistic. The Blackstone Wasteland would become more and more popular. Rather than letting players search randomly for Obsidian Village, it was better to establish a controllable contact point. Players needed supplies, intelligence, and talisman water. Obsidian Village could sell them. But they would not be allowed to touch the core. This way, the village could gain resources while observing player movements. Zhou Bo asked, My lord, what should we accept in trade? That was a problem. Players had copper coins, materials, equipment, and tools. What Obsidian Village needed most right now was food, iron tools, tools in general, cloth, and medicinal herb seeds. Lin Yao said, prioritize food, iron tools, general tools, seeds, and cloth. Copper coins can also be accepted, but they come later. In the early stages of Era of the Divine Realms, materials were more important than currency. Especially for a territory. A copper coin could not repair a wall. An iron pickaxe could. Just as the arrangements were finished, Lin Yao received a friend message. It was from Chu He. Chu He, Lord Lin, after the announcement came out, Dragon Court has already begun discussing Obsidian Village internally. Chu He, I will fulfill the iron tool compensation, but later there may be other Dragon Court teams entering the Blackstone Wasteland. Lin Yao replied. Tell them to trade for information before entering Broken Flag Slope. Chu He replied quickly. I will pass it on. After a moment, he sent another sentence. Chu He, not everyone will listen. Lin Yao looked at that sentence, his expression unchanged. That was normal. A guild was not one person. Chu He could restrain his own team, but he might not be able to restrain all of Dragon Court. Especially after the Blackstone Wasteland was proven valuable, Dragon Court's higher-ups would not completely follow Obsidian Village's rules just because Chu He had suffered one loss. Another message arrived soon after. Su Qingli. Su Qingli, congratulations. Only 2 words. Lin Yao replied. You do not seem surprised. Su Qingli answered very quickly. From the moment you obtained the Broken Flag Slope intelligence, Obsidian Village's exposure was only a matter of time. Now you need cooperation even more. Lin Yao looked at that sentence and smiled faintly. The Su family would never miss a chance to apply pressure. He replied. Trade is possible. Stationing people here is not up for discussion. After several seconds, Su Qingli replied. Then trade first. The Su family can provide the first batch of food and iron tools in exchange for 1 day of outer gathering rights in Broken Flag Slope's controlled area. Lin Yao's eyes narrowed slightly. The Su family moved very quickly. They were no longer asking for 30% of Obsidian Village's resources. Instead, they wanted 1 day of outer gathering rights. It sounded much gentler than before. But the issue was that gathering rights meant Sioux family personnel could enter Broken Flag Slope. Even if it was only the outer area, they could still obtain a large amount of intelligence. After thinking it over, Lin Yao replied, "Outer gathering rights are not for sale. Gathering slots can be sold. Each time we'll have limited personnel, time, and area, and Obsidian Village will send people to supervise." Su Qingli was silent for a while. "You are treating Broken Flag Slope as your own land?" Lin Yao replied. "The system acknowledges 25%. This time, Su Qingli took even longer to respond. "Fine. We will discuss it tomorrow." Lin Yao put away the message. This was the value of control. Even 25% was enough to become a bargaining chip. The night gradually retreated. Inside Obsidian Village, the new rules began to take shape. The village's outer trading area was placed on the southeastern side, far from the stone tablet core and near an open stretch of black stone ground. Lu Cheng brought people to build a simple wooden shed. Zhou Bo was responsible for registration. Shi Shang was responsible for warning and patrol. Zhao Tai stood nearby with one trap formation recruit. Lin Yao looked at this small trading area and understood very clearly that it would become Obsidian Village's first door to the outside player world. If the door opened too wide, wolves would enter. If the door closed too tightly, the village would lack resources. How wide to open it, who to let in, what to sell, what to exchange for? Every step had to be precise. Not long after the trading area was built, Shi Shang ran back from the outer edge. "My lord, players are approaching." Lin Yao asked, "How many?" "First batch, 5. Direction? East." Lin Yao nodded. Faster than he had expected. Less than half a day after the announcement, people had already found the outskirts of Obsidian Village. He stood in front of the trading shed and looked into the distance. 5 players walked over from the edge of the blackstone ground. When they saw Obsidian Village's wooden wall, the light of the stone tablet, the trading shed, and the trap formation recruit on guard, their expressions obviously changed. One of them said in a low voice, "Found it. This is Obsidian Village." The first official contact between Obsidian Village and the player world had begun.